a presentation about Hexitime, which, to kind of give it a kind of a one-sentence summary, is about giving it time, so giving an hour and getting a lot more back. So that's a kind of a strap line, and explain what it means and what the significance of this as we go along. So we've introduced ourselves, and really what we're going to be telling you about really is how we've utilized this platform to mobilize peer-to-peer support, particularly for kind of BAME professionals within healthcare settings. So that's how this is the direction of travel we're going in. So it's firstly an introduction for those of you who don't know about this platform or time banking in general, and I recognize a few of you who are already on the platform, is that the principles of it come from community work, actually. So there's a really neat thing that we came across, which is time banking. Essentially, if you're in a local community, you can share time, experience, skills without exchanging money, and thereby build kind of communities around that. And I saw that working really well in community services. Three simple rules: no money changes hands during these exchanges. Everyone's time is valued equally, irrespective of pay scale, gender, race, and that 1 hour equals 1 credit. So we saw this working in communities, and then we thought, actually, could this work in healthcare professionals, particularly around QI? Because we're also working in silos, we're also short of resources, and we're also to some degree short of time. So we thought, okay, can we build this platform, which is what we now know as Hexitime? It was funded, in fact, by the Q community through the kind of Q exchange. But as you'll see in a moment, Q community members are actually, I'd say, even a minority on the group now. There's lots of other communities in there. So it's kind of a network of networks in a way. This is a nice quote from Professor Michael West when he first heard about this, which, as you'll see, really is true to life. So he anticipated, it's a wonderful way, also means of harnessing our intrinsic kindness for the benefit of all. And these are some examples of Hexitimers. And this quote is a nice one I like from Deborah Dover, who recommended it as a platform, skills exchange platform. She's found a QI coach, gained an improvement seminar, access to tour of the neighboring trusts and QI systems. And she's had a lot of engagement with this platform and brought many other people into it. So that's the background. This slide's a little bit out of date, actually. Membership has grown and now exceeds over 1,000 people, hopefully more after today. So that's the context. In terms of how this links into this current issue of inequity and BAME colleagues in particular, for me personally, as a pediatrician, we fortunately haven't lost any children with COVID over the first surge, but what I did see was a lot of my colleagues and others who were affected by it. So I lost one of the nurses in our hospital early on, and actually, if you look at the figures, disproportionately, I think out of the first 10 doctors who died of COVID, the vast majority were from BAME backgrounds. And it kind of certainly made me think, actually, why is this? As many of us will have considered, what is going on? And this is within a national context, which John will describe to us now.
Yeah, so most of us are aware that there's executive leadership across the healthcare system that's predominantly white. The example on the slide there shows a bit of a shocker in September when the HSJ showed just how white the executive leadership was in the West Midlands, despite the fact that 40% of their demographic were BAME. And so it becomes fairly self-evident that if our executive leadership is predominantly white, our improvement activity probably is too. And this means that BAME colleagues are not participating as best as they could in our improvement activity, and we as a system are not benefiting from their fantastic ideas and their talents and their skills. And so through our Hexitime campaign, we wanted to start to address that.
And if we look back at that slide, there's something interesting about that group of improvers who were kind of early adopters of Hexitime, which is that they were overwhelmingly white, middle class, and often male. And that made us think, actually, there's something missing here, and what can we do as a platform to address this, and recognizing our underlying principles, that time is valued equally. Could we do something that could really make a difference, particularly as we saw, I think in the context of Black Lives Matter, there was an increased awareness of this, and there was a lot of goodwill from individuals who wanted to make a difference, even at a micro level. Could we use this platform to kind of to use kind of Penny's words from the beginning of the day, kind of align some of these improvement ideas in one direction, which is where we developed the Hexitime Campaign, which is really about supporting one another within an improvement community across kind of racial barriers. And this is an example that John can talk through.
Yeah, so just a couple of messages on this slide. On the left-hand side there, the screenshot on Twitter just shows that actually there's a lot of ignorance out there in the white community around this even being an issue that warrants our attention. As we've started to share our campaign and put that on social media, we've had numerous people question whether there's time or relevance for this sort of activity, that sort of ignorance of their own white privilege. We've even had people, as you can see on the screenshot on the right-hand side there, even overtly going one step forward and saying that supporting BAME colleagues in their professional development and improvement to address inequalities is fundamentally racist. And so there's an element here as a white person where there is a sort of an element of bravery here where we need to challenge that, and we need to make sure that we're giving it the right profile, but also that we're doing more than just being Twitter ninjas, and that we're actually contributing proactively to addressing the inequalities. And we'll show you in the next few slides how you can be proactive in this campaign as a white person as well.
So these are examples of offers that are on Hexitime now. And what I see each of these is a small act of leadership. You know, each one of the individuals are putting an offer in, or as you see, a request, which may only take a few hours of their time, but contributes to that overall direction of travel. So Anne, as you'll hear later, is offering career coaching. So she's got a limited number of time, but so many hours that she's offered to coach others. We can also put requests in. So Sham here is asking for a mentor. Daniela had this fantastic offer, actually, which I took up on, as you'll hear earlier, about reviewing LinkedIn profiles, particularly for those who are not particularly social media savvy. So there's a whole raft of offers and requests now, and as you'll see in a moment, lots of exchanges that are happening.
So
yeah, John.
Yeah, no, I'll jump in. So we're also showing how through improvement activity here we can reduce inequalities. So if you're not particularly well networked or linked, if you don't have that little black book of contacts, we want to show through our tech and our campaign that good ideas should carry you through. So we've created features where people can upload good ideas and get free networking and free resource to develop those ideas and take them forward. The example here, Edwina, not a healthcare professional, no NHS contacts, but a good idea. She's also BAME. Shared her idea, and very quickly through Hexitime had 2 palliative care consultants, an entire nursing team from the other side of the country, and some social workers helping her to build that idea and take it forward. And really, we're saying this is about your skills and your ideas, and not about race. And that's how we can reduce inequalities in the improvement side.
And I think that was submitted to this year's Q Exchange, wasn't it, John? So
yeah, it's also become a Q idea as well.
Yeah. Okay. So what difference can this make? What have we learned? So this is a few examples now of exchange or series of exchanges that have been happening. And as you hear this, I mean, I have to say I smile because it's kind of fertilized or catalyzed connections that would never have happened. So
yeah,
John,
I'll go through very quickly. Yeah, so here's a really simple time banking exchange. So Chris Tuckett, as a white guy, knows that he's in a senior position as a director. He can offer career coaching for interview practice to become an AHP. So he offered that, and a BAME person on Hexitime took that offer, gave him a credit, received some free interview coaching from a director. Really straightforward exchange. This next example shows something slightly more complicated. This is Danielle She's the chair of Walsall Healthcare NHS Trust, first BAME chair in the NHS. And she's using her senior leadership position to offer exec board level shadowing. She offered 100 hours to the community, and already she's had 12 people, aspiring BAME exec directors, take up her offer and shadow her at the board for their career development. And this third example is just amazing from our point of view, and hopefully you'll appreciate this. So this is real time banking in action. At the top there, you can see Anne that Hisham mentioned. She's offered career coaching. You can see around her is a ring of 4 people, Mohammed Bilal, Daniela Valdez, and 2 other members. They've taken her up and received career coaching, all BAME colleagues. But if you look at the bottom of the slide, Daniela's really interesting, because Daniela in turn is helping other people. So she's helping Hexitime to translate itself into Spanish, because she's South American and has the skills. She's also helping Hisham with his LinkedIn review for his professional profile. And she's also, she's taking those credits that she's earning from that support and then spending them, obviously on Anne to receive coaching herself, but then also she's supporting Mohammed Bilal there. You can see that connection because he wants mentorship to become a director in like program management land. So you've got people both requesting help and helping others and starting to interconnect through time banking across the system. And they're starting to exchange both on the fact that they're BAME, but also on their improvement expertise that they can contribute. And you can see how the relationships get more complicated and mutually supportive.
I just want to mention, I just want to make sure that this point isn't missed actually. So just as we saw with time banking face-to-face or in localities, we've achieved 3 things here. One of them is we've moved resources and ideas to where they were needed at no cost. So no money has changed hands. Secondly, there's an interconnectedness here between people who would otherwise be in silos that would never happen. And thirdly, you'll see a real concentration or focus on people's assets rather than deficits, irrespective of your ethnic background. So that's an important part of this whole story. In terms of where to go next, so we're looking to increase the membership of Hexitime, because the more people are on there, the more benefit there is across the board. But secondly, trying to incorporate other networks into Hexitime for the benefit of that network as a collaboration platform for them, but also to increase exchanges across the field. So the one that has most recently joined us is an amazing group actually called the Shuri Network, which is a national network of BAME females in clinical informatics. So a particular domain that is almost exclusively white and almost exclusively male. This is a group who are trying to kind of redress that balance, and they're now using Hexitime as a platform, which helps connect them as a network, but also means that they can join within that kind of wider QI community that we're hosting. In terms of what you can do, so I suggest just maybe following us on Twitter if you're on Twitter, join Hexitime. Just have a look around. You don't need to offer anything first. You've got 2 credits just for joining the profile, so feel free to take up any of the offers. We also give an overdraft, so you're very welcome to kind of tap into that. But also the important point in this, resonating with what Professor Michael West said earlier, is that this is an incredibly generous community actually. So as in time banks of place, offers outnumber requests 5 to 1. So there's no fiscal stimulus, so to speak, that's needed. So you go on there and really benefit and thrive from that. Important things here is that be ready to understand what you can give, because everyone can offer something, but also understand what you need, and putting on requests is really important. And that sometimes something we don't do very well in healthcare. We're not really ready to understand or even admit our deficits. If you are putting an activity on, tag it to one of the campaigns, whether it's the BAME campaign or any others. Doesn't mean that it's exclusively for the BAME colleagues, but it means that it gets flagged up in that particular workspace. And then finally, if you're interested and engaged, then introduce your kind of colleagues or other members in your organization to do so. And with the underlying principle that it moves not just resources, but moves mindsets from competition to collaboration across what otherwise would have been silos.